All right, guys. So the Democrats are getting real desperate, right? They're getting so desperate that they're floating some insane ideas out there in regards to who they might run in 2024. Okay, because Biden, he's a disaster, right? Whether it comes to inflation, the border, crime, international relations, right? Foreign policy, you name it. There's a disaster across the board. Okay, and Kamala is just as unpopular, more unpopular than Biden is at this point. Okay, so the Democrats really don't have any good options for 2024, right, on their side of the aisle, which means that they're probably going to ask Biden to step down if they get shellacked in the midterms, like it's predicted they're going to do, right? They're probably going to be like, Biden, you got to step aside, and who knows, they might have a primary, which will basically be unprecedented, that the party of the sitting president, the incumbent that still is eligible to run again, would have a primary, right? That would be very rare, okay? But an embarrassment for sleepy Joe Biden and cackling Kamala, okay? Now, on the GOP side, things are looking up, right? Again, they're predicted to basically wreck the Democrats in the midterm, okay? And Trump, right? He still has a strong hold on the GOP, on the base, right? As basically all the polls show that he is the front runner by a long shot in terms of winning the GOP nomination. And I said this before and I'll say it again. What is happening right now with Ukraine and Russia, particularly when it comes to Putin's aggression, is the biggest and best campaign ad for Trump ever. Okay, there's a whole lot of people, even people that lean left, that don't really like Trump too much, but they don't necessarily hate him. They don't have full-blown Trump derangement syndrome. They're like, hey, you know, that Trump guy, those mean tweets weren't all that bad, right? You know, when that guy was in office, Putin wasn't acting like this, right? I would rather have mean tweets than the threat of nuclear war, right? I would rather have mean tweets than that, okay? A whole lot of people are thinking about that guy Trump right now and saying he might not be a bad option, okay? So things are looking particularly good for Trump, and it looks like he's probably going to win the nomination, right? Unless DeSantis runs, which, you know, hey, if I was him, I wouldn't, but I would like to see him run, okay? However, I wouldn't. I mean, just because I don't want to really see a fight between Trump and DeSantis, right? In primaries, things get super ugly. I would rather see Trump do another term, which would be his last term, and then let DeSantis take over after that, okay? However, there are some GOP strategists out there that are saying that the GOP should not run Trump, that Trump shouldn't be the nominee. It should be somebody younger, right? Basically saying DeSantis should be the nominee. So, who knows, right? But it is looking very good for Trump, right? All the polls have the man basically dominating, okay? But things can change. Who knows? What I do know is that the Democrats are scrambling, right? They're scrambling to figure out who to run in 2024, right? Who can beat Trump, right? Who's going to keep Trump from taking back the presidency, right? From getting his revenge. And Democrat strategist Dick Morris apparently has some bright ideas, as he is saying that the matchup to watch in 2024 for the Democrats is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, versus Hillary Clinton. Okay, now we've heard about Hillary, right? I'm predicting that Hillary will run, right? She's basically put herself back in the mainstream political conversation. And I think the reason why she's doing it is because she's seeing an opportunity in the fact that Kamala is doing so bad. She's like, okay, Kamala is not viable at this point, and there's a good chance that the party may ditch Kamala for Hillary, right? So I think that she's probably going to run that, and I think she sees running against Trump as her way of getting revenge, right? So I understand the Hillary conversation. AOC though, right? That's a whole new one, okay? I have not heard AOC's name thrown in the 2024 conversation for the Democrats. However, Dick Morris, who's a former Democrat strategist, is putting her name out there, floating her name out there as the progressive champion for the Democrats, right? And according to 1945 here, they wrote a whole article on why AOC could be president in 2024. And I'm actually going to read this and tell you exactly why she cannot be president in 2024. It will never, ever happen, right? It will not happen, okay? So let's read about why this author here believes that AOC can be president. AOC for president. Progressive Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the congresswoman from New York's 14th Congressional District, is asserting more power over her party than ever before. She has the support of not just younger progressive Democrats, but also of two-time presidential primary runner-up, Senator Bernie Sanders. Okay, so that doesn't mean she has the support of the country, right? Just because she has the support of a bunch of young people who don't vote, right? Which is part of the reason why Bernie can't win, because his base doesn't vote. And the Democrats, you know, they got funny business going on in their primaries. But yeah, that's primarily the reason why they can't win, because her base doesn't vote, right? But the rest of the country, I don't think they're on board with far left Democrat progressive policies, especially during a time like this. On Monday, Sanders joined AOC in endorsing an ultra-progressive Texas primary challenger of moderate Democrat Representative Henry Cuellar. In Texas, 28-year-old Jessica Casanos will challenge Cuellar for his congressional seat represented in Texas' 28th District with the full support of the progressive wing of the Democrat Party. I have done no research on this person whatsoever, but I guarantee you she is a woke feminist, right? A woke far left feminist running. Okay, I guarantee you. And this is why I've been trying to warn you guys. They're running a whole lot of those types, right? A whole lot of AOC types are running for Congress. Okay, and I'm telling you, they're trying to fill up Congress with those types, right? In a speech on Saturday, Representative Ocasio-Cortez rallied for Cisneros and fellow Texas candidate Greg Casar, and promised, if we flip Texas, we will flip the country. For a congresswoman who has only served since 2019, AOC is exerting a huge amount of power over her party, and rumors that she may run for the presidency started even before 2020. AOC 2024, why she may run. AOC has big visions for her party, and she has been vocal about it since her candidacy. The New York Congresswoman has become the most vocal advocate for progressive issues, from trans rights to universal basic income and critical race theory, and she even slammed the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan as not nearly enough. So let's break this down, okay? AOC, right, on progressive issues, trans rights, specifically when we're talking about sports and trans women competing against biological women, she's not on the right side of that issue, right? She's not on the right side of that issue. When it comes to universal basic income, most of the country, right, the sane amount of this country has soured on that, considering the expanded unemployment and the stimulus checks and all the money that was passed out from the federal government during this pandemic that basically contributed to this inflation crisis that we have right now, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot of the country has soured on universal basic income at this point, okay, except the far left woke progressives. And critical race theory. I don't think a majority of the country is on board with her when it comes to that issue as well either. Now, when it comes to the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure plan, I think that most Americans probably don't want us spending more money than we've already spent. Again, we have an inflation crisis, right? And the bipartisan infrastructure plan was bipartisan. That was a moderate plan. Most people, I think the moderate people kind of like that plan, okay, for the most part. Ocasio-Cortez has even hit out at the Biden administration's handling of the southern border, despite immediately canceling the construction of former President Donald Trump's border wall. AOC accused President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris of forcing undocumented children into cages. Okay, so she may be criticizing Biden on the border, but she's not criticizing him from the right side of the aisle, right? She's criticizing him from the left. She really should be criticizing him from the right, okay, in terms of letting these people into the country, okay? Having a record amount of immigrants coming to this country illegally under the Biden administration because they essentially told undocumented immigrants to come into this country. If AOC were president, we would definitely have open borders, no doubt. Quote, as we've seen, there are arrivals of undocumented children, rather unaccompanied children that have come at the border, and this has led to completely inhumane and unacceptable, horrifying conditions of children in CBP, Customs and Border Protection custody, and it is unacceptable and horrifying, she said during a virtual meeting with constituents. AOC's 2019 Green New Deal also didn't gain the traction she hoped it would within the party, with President Joe Biden's infrastructure proposals not going as far as she had hoped. While the White House included measures in the infrastructure plan that focus on communities that are reportedly hit the hardest by climate change, the New York Congresswoman sees room for improvement and believes she can influence policy even further. I mean, maybe not. According to studies, right, AOC is one of the most least effective Congress people that there are. She's one of the most least effective, right? She doesn't know how to get anything done. So if that's the case, if she's president, how would she get anything done outside of executive orders? Because she can't even rally her own party behind a lot of this stuff. Okay, except, you know, again, these people on the left, a lot of them are far left, but they're not as left as AOC. Quote, one thing that I'm very excited about is that I do believe that we have been able to influence a lot of thinking on climate and infrastructure, she said, as much as I think some parts of the party try to avoid saying Green New Deal and really dance around and try not to use that term. Ultimately, the framework, I think, has been adopted. AOC and her squad of fellow progressives have a grip over the Democrat Party, much like former President Donald Trump has over the Republican Party. With that much power and with both President Biden and Vice President Harris struggling in the polls, there is no reason why AOC wouldn't run. Okay, so she is eligible to run, okay? But who knows if she actually will run? Could she win a Democrat primary? It depends. It depends, right? If the far left progressive is the young people show out to actually vote for her, okay, I think she could. But I think that the chances of her actually winning are still pretty slim, okay? I think it's still pretty slim. Bernie had a strong campaign, and even he still couldn't win. And he really didn't come all that close to winning either, right? We've seen that the Democrats, again, are willing to pull whatever strings they can in order to make sure that certain members of their party don't win. So with that being said, AOC, right, is also being floated as a potential vice president option for Hillary Clinton, along with Liz Cheney by this same outlet. And I'm telling you guys, a Hillary AOC ticket would probably be a disaster, right? I don't think that America would vote for that, right? It would be very memeable, okay? I'm pretty sure it would be a whole lot of comedy. It would be great for me. It would be great for content, okay? But it would not be great for this country, right? But hey, you're seeing it being floated out there, right? They're floating Hillary out there. Now they're floating AOC. Who knows, right? She might run. She is apparently, allegedly eyeing Chuck Schumer's seat. Okay, so she's definitely trying to take over the Democrat Party, but I don't see her running in 2024, and if she does run, I don't know if she could win a Democrat primary, and she damn sure would not be able to become president. I don't think the country would support her, but hey, who knows? I mean, they said it was crazy when Trump won, right? So I really don't know, but let's pray that AOC does not ever come anywhere close to the Oval Office. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.